What am I looking at? What am I looking at, you might ask? Well, these are receipts. Receipts. They are the printed words of this gentleman. Okay? And these words were spoken during a shiur or a drash, or what we would call a sermon in a closed place inside of a synagogue, right? Now, these words are pretty nasty. You're going to find out. Um, what's the significance of the gentleman? Well, the gentleman that I just showed a picture of is Rav Yitzchak Yosef, Rabbi Isaac Joseph. Yes, he has two first names, and he is the chief Sephardic rabbi of the modern state of Israel. What does that mean? He's like, he's a big deal, right? He's a big deal. He has a, you know, an interesting outfit and a Kangol apparently. Um, he is, if you would, like a pope. Oh, well, if you're Jewish, you probably wouldn't. But if you would, he's like a pope. Okay, and I want to talk to you about exactly what it was that he said, why it's significant, okay, um, and why hypocrisy is just blazing today in the world. Now, unless you've been living underneath a rock, okay, the way I've been off of this platform for the past 6 months or so, you've heard about the controversy stirring over the book and documentary called Hebrews to Negroes by Ron Dalton. Yeah, so Kyrie Irving, superstar basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets, aka Uncle Drew, posted, I believe, an image of this with no caption. Okay, so you have an instance where someone of, sure notoriety, he's known all over. He posted an image of this without a caption. Okay, so did he intend to harm? Did he intend to hurt? Um, no, he pretty much expressed as much that that was not his intention. So this video is not about genetics. This video is not about science. This video is not about who's who and who's not and X, Y, and Z and all of those things, okay? This video is about exposing hypocrisy, okay? Exposing hypocrisy. On one hand, you have someone who clearly stated, Kyrie Irving did, that yes, I posted something, but it was not my intention to maim, harm, hurt, or cause harm to come upon other people. Whereas the chief rabbi of the modern state of Israel, one of two, okay, chief rabbis of the modern state of Israel, said some pretty nasty things that the Anti Defamation League, run by Mr. Jonathon Greenblatt, pretty much did nothing about. Okay, let's get immediately into his words. But before I do that, I want to read you one line from a Siddur. It's just a prayer book, a Jewish prayer book, a Siddur, okay? And this is something that Mr. Isaac Joseph should be very aware of, okay? Because it's part of the Tfilat Shacharit, or the morning prayers, right? Listen to this. It's going to give a little color to the words, a little color. Okay, never mind. לעולם יהא אדם ירא שמיים בסתר ובגלוי. May it be always that every man is God-fearing or heaven-fearing, both in private and in public. Umodeh al ha'emet, and he is thankful over the truth. V'dover emet bilvavo, and that he contemplates truth in his heart. That he is both God-fearing, Yerei Shamayim, or heaven-fearing, literally God-fearing, heaven-fearing, in private as well as in public. So, Mr. Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, right? He made a statement during a sermon of his in the synagogue, in private, probably where he thought no one would be around. And did he care? I don't know. I can't pretend to know what's in the heart of men. But I want to point out some very important things about these receipts. Feel free to pause this video, and you can always show this page to someone who um, is proficient in Hebrew, okay? And they will show you, or they will say the same thing that I'm getting ready to say to you. So the one thing that I want to point out right away is you notice that I have keyed in on certain words by boxing them in yellow. Here, for example, that word, sadly, you have to become familiar with. I don't want you to become familiar with it, but it is what it is. This word is kushi. Kushi, spelled with a kaf, vav, shin, and a yod. Kushi. Okay? So, what's the big deal, David? Sounds like someone from Kush, right? Kushi. Like, for example, in the Tanakh, in the Torah, it talks about when the children of Israel come into the land, they're going to encounter the Canaanites or the Kanaani, or the Jebusites, Yevusi, or the Perizzites, the stalactites, the stalagmites, and the flashlights. All of these different lights, they're going to encounter these people. So, people will argue with you that the word Kushi that I have highlighted every time the guy has said this in his sermon, it's just a person from Kush or of Cushitic descent. No, that's not the truth. Mr. Isaac Yitzchak Yosef is fully aware that the word Kushi is a pejorative. It is a term intended to hurt, to maim, and to wound. This word Kushi. And I can tell you, brothers and sisters, that his sermon is a veritable, well, the word Kushi is equivalent to the English American N word, okay? So his sermon is a veritable fest, okay? His sermon is a veritable fest, all right? So not only is he talking about people with dark skin, brown skin, black skin, he's speaking specifically of African Americans. You, me too, okay? Here's what he said. This is an excerpt of an article from the newspaper Yediot Achronot, latest news, or Yediot Achronot, okay? And this is a Jewish writer who wrote the article, okay? I'm going to read you some of the words, and I'll attempt to turn it around and read it off of the screen. So I'm not only in English standards am I reading it backwards because Hebrew goes from right to left. I'm going to be doing something kind of weird because I'm going to have to look at the screen in order to read it to you. So basically, the article says, Haraka lese'arahu divach be'iton yediot achronot. So the background for this storm, it is a report that was found in the newspaper Yediot Achronot al shi'ur shehevir harav Rashi. Okay, so it's about a lesson or something that's been attributed to Rashi. And here's what it says. Haro'eh bri'ot mishanot, the person who sees a diverse creature or a creature that the Most High has created who is different or diverse. When you see one of these, he says, mevarech meshaneh habriot. You are to say a blessing over a diversified creature. Now, I have to take you to the words now from Rashi. I have to take you to the words of the bigot in the room, the bigot in the room, the vile, bitter racist. And here are his words. He says, Ro'e kushi, when you see a N-word, mevarech alav meshaneh habriot, do you say the blessing over a diversified creature? Eze kushi, every time you hear the word, the magic word, snap your finger. He says, Eze kushi. Here's his answer. He says, which kushi, which N-word do you say the blessing over? Here's the answer. He says, She'aba ve'ima shelo levanim hu yetse kushi. A white father and a white mother, when a N-word comes out of their union, that's when you say Mishaneh Habriot. That's when you say the blessing over a strange or diversified creature. Now, look at this and follow along with me. It says, Harav Hisbir, the rabbi explains, אתה הולך ברחוב באמריקה. You go down the street or you walk down the street in America. כל 5 דקות תראה כושי. Every 5 minutes you see an N-word. All right? He's asked the question, Tevarech alav meshaneh habriot, do you offer him the blessing of the diverse creature? No, he says. He says, Ela tzarich she'ihyeh, got to do it the other way. Ela tzarich she'ihyeh kushi she'aba shelo ve'ima shelo levanim. Only if it is an N-word who has both a white father and a white mother. Mr. Jonathon Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League issued a statement back in 2018, and he said, shame on you. You used a lot of racially charged language. That's what he said. But no, Mr. Greenblatt, this is gizanut. Gizanut, this is racism of its most vile and incendiary form. Okay, because this guy is sitting in private, or he thinks no one's going to hear, or maybe he just didn't care. He said that black people in America, he used the N-word, and he says you see a blessing over one of those N-words when they have 2 parents that are white. Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. Here's the second page here, and you notice in the box, it says, Yetzeh lahem ben kof. Yetzeh goes out from them. Yetzeh lahem goes out from them ben kof, a monkey, basically. If there is a person, Abba shelo ve'imah shelo levanim, that has a white father and a white mother, then they're going to have a monkey or a kushi. Or a kushi, okay? Here's the rest of his statement. I'm almost done here. Im ata yodea yetzeh lahem ben kof. If you know a monkey is going to come out of that union, yetzeh lahem ben kacha. As tevarech alav meshaneh habruyot, he says, a monkey or something like that. He says, then, as tevarech alav meshaneh habruyot, then you give the blessing of a strange creature. As matagid tzarich she'yeh shnei kushim. Do you have to have 2 N-words? He asks the question. Lo, no, he says. אלא זו דוגמה שהגמרא נתנה, אז גם כאן באילנות. He lies and he says that the Gemara gives this example. He's a liar. Not only is he a racist and a bloated codfish, he's also shakran. He's a liar. He's a liar, okay? Because in Brachot 58b, it does not mention a race, a genetic group of people, or anything. For diversified creatures, or Mishanei Habruyot, it mentions pil, an elephant, or kof, or a monkey. But it does not mention a people group, so he's a liar. Okay? Final part to get out of your hair and make my final statements is this. The writer, the Jewish writer of this article, okay, because a lot of people in the modern state of Israel were very angry and very upset about this. This is true. This is true. And the writer has a prescription for him to get it right. The writer goes on and she makes a statement. יש במדינה 144,000 יהודים בני העדה האתיופית. So we have, she says, 144,000 Ethiopians here, במדינה, in the land. And she says, from them you have thousands of ילדים ונוער שיוצאים לחופשה. איך הם צריכים להתמודד עם אמירה כזאת שנאמרת על ידי אדם עם סמכות כזו? How does these kids and these teenagers budding into adults, how are they to deal with words that come from an individual, she says, על ידי אדם עם סמכות כזו, from a guy that has such authority? Such authority. He purposely made these statements and he used a pejorative in order to injure and do maximum damage. But look at what's happening to Kyrie Irving. He tweeted an image, okay? Does that mean that he endorsed everything that was said? Every opinion? No. But he didn't even put a caption. And then later on, he expressed the thought that it was not his intention to do harm. But this Hmar, he made these statements in order to injure, all right? Because you are in private and you don't think one is listening. Well, has he always been this way? Well, because the internet is undefeated, I actually managed to find a picture of him from his younger days when he was the ruler of Duloc. When he was the ruler of Duloc. And as you can see, he still preferred the weird, is it a Kangol? Anyway, whoever the company is, they didn't tear up his contract for funny hats. He hasn't been canceled. What has happened to him since then? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing was done to him. The ADL issued a weak as water statement and nothing more was said about it. Nothing more. Hypocrisy at its worst. The last part of this. Here is the prescription that the Jewish writer of this article in the Yediot Achronot made. She says the following. ואני חושבת שהוא צריך לעשות תשובה וכפרה על הדברים. She says he needs to repent. לעשות תשובה. He needs to repent and he needs to make covering or atonement for these words. For these words. So, I do not condone or endorse hate speech of any kind or any speech that can bring harm upon anybody, upon any people. There's a conversation that needs to take place between both the Jewish community and the quote unquote African American community. Dialogue is a way to mend bridges, build and reinforce bridges as well. And they can help, dialogue can help foster understanding. What's unfortunate is that Mr. Greenblatt, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, he's doing nothing to kill the conspiracy theories that European Jewish people somehow rule the world and run everything. Okay, someone says something or posts something that you don't like, right? And your first thought is, let me show you how strong I am. I'm going to pick up the phone and call all of my buddies who are the major heads of corporations X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to tell them to cut off your shoe deals and cut off your hat deal. Well, they didn't cut off his hat deal, right? Or we're going to go as far as to make sure you don't even eat. So why is it that we get clamped down so much harder than anyone else when we say something or do something that's perceived to be insensitive or racist? So nothing happened to Mr. Funny Hat, right? Okay, he was done fine. And look, let's just be honest. I love the modern state of Israel. I'm there every year. Every year I'm there, except for the COVID years. You know, and I know that the United States of America gives a lot of money to Israel. They call it strategic dollars, whatever. Okay, whatever. It is a huge amount of money that's approved by Congress and is called a loan and is forgiven at the end of the year, every year, from my understanding. If I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comment section below. There's another individual named Donald John Trump who in December 2015, while speaking at the Republican Jewish Coalition's Candidates Forum, he said these words. Again, you can freeze this and you can look this up. He says, "You're not going to support me even though you know I'm the best thing that could ever happen to Israel." He said, "And I'll be that. And I know why you're not going to support me. I know why you're not going to support me. You're not going to support me because I don't want your money." Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. You know, he says, "I know that you're not going to support me because I don't want your money." See, there's an inverse, there's a flip side to that. Okay, what is that flip side? Well, You're not going to support me because you know I don't want your money. You know I don't need your money. I have my own. Because, see, you would support me if I needed your money, okay? But then if I needed your money, I would have to acquiesce to every whim or everything that you tell me to do. Is that an anti Semitic statement? Well, it was a room full of rich Jewish people, and they laughed, right? He was introduced as a mensch with chutzpah, okay? And they laughed. Some of the laughs were nervous laughs or whatnot. And he said that, basically he says, I'm in a room, a room full of negotiators, and I'm a negotiator just like you guys are. I know how you people negotiate, just like you people. I'm a negotiator just like you people. What was his reward? Well, he became the 45th president of the United States. Okay. In the modern state of Israel, they start fishing through bloodlines, trying to see if he could somehow be linked to King David. They tried to do the gematria with his name written with Hebrew letters so they could come up with an equivalent so it could come out to be Melech HaMashiach or David HaMelech or something, any type of desperate way to try to connect him to the son of David, to the Messiah. So look, Mr. Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, posted the image of this. And as you can see, it is sealed. I have not opened it. I have another copy that I have opened. I took this copy, I purchased it from Mr. Ron Dalton back at a conference in High Point, North Carolina, not terribly long ago. All right. And as you can see, it's sealed, for one rack. It's yours. But listen, the truth of the matter is this: we get destroyed, we get drawn and quartered, flayed, whatever colorful phrase or thing you want to come up with. We get destroyed. We get done so bad when we offend, whether, purposely or inadvertently or whatever. We just get destroyed. You know, I can't say they, but folks go after us, okay? And not only do they cut down the tree, they pull up the roots. They do us really, really bad. Others are awarded or rewarded, with high office. Others have nothing done to them. And I mentioned the amount of money that we give to Israel every year, which is called strategic dollars. I made that point. I didn't finish it, but I brought that up strictly because I don't know how they dole out the money, but the chief rabbi gets a salary. Maybe he gets to call us monkeys, and because it's taxpayer money, we're paying him to call us monkeys. Just maybe, just maybe. Okay? It should not be this way. Listen, Anachnu kol kulanu b'nei adam. We are sons of, we're human beings. We're all human beings, all of us. And we are all made in the image of the invisible God. I went to school in Houston, Texas. I grew up with European Jewish friends. And they're not all rich by any stretch of the imagination. Some of these friends, we were hungry together. Uh, they struggle. They're just everyday people by and large. I went to a high school, Bel Air High School, which is a suburb outside of Houston, and there were so many Jews there that um, Bel Air High was called Heb High, Jaime High, or Bagel Bel Air. As a matter of fact, when our football team would take the field, in most places they would pelt us with bagels. They would pelt us with bagels. It was that bad at one point for European Jewish people in the state of Texas. Now, this isn't about comparing boo boos and saying my thing was worse than yours, X, Y, and Z, and on and on. I leave that to other people. I leave that to other people. I don't have time for that. What I can say is that um, when things like this happen, people like Mr. Kyrie Irving or Kanye West are sent to Poland so they can go to Auschwitz and Birkenau and places where horrible atrocities did take place. And it should never have been allowed to happen. And the United States did sit on the sideline while that happened. Hey, the phone's ringing. Hey, there are boxcars full of clothes and hair and shoes and X, Y, and Z. Oh no, it's laundry day or something stupid. And finally, they said, "Oh, we're sitting and we're watching an atrocity take place." My heart aches for these people. These are my fellow human beings, my brothers and my sisters. But I would remind people also that you don't have to go to Poland. You don't have to go to Auschwitz or Birkenau or any of these places. All you need to do is go down to, let's say, I don't know, the Devil's Peach Bowl. Okay, a big swath of land covered in peach trees where the peaches grow the size of softballs and they're big and juicy, but no one eats these peaches. Why? Because everyone knows that the ground is rife with the blood and the bones of our ancestors, where they were cordoned off and forced to die from botch and other plagues after they had been pushed into this area and fenced in. Go to any place in the Carolinas, go to Texas, my home state. I was born in Palestine, Texas, and you can find um, stories of terrible massacres. Tucker, Texas, um, really bad, really, really bad things, really, really bad history. And it's very real. So no one's pain should be laid aside and just kicked aside. We have pains, though, as well. Okay, so we do need conversation, fruitful, constructive conversation with people who want the best possible outcome. And that's to bridge and to work together. No one stole anything from me. No one stole a heritage from me, from X, Y, and Z, and da 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 da. I'm fully aware of the state of my people and why it was allowed and why it came to be. Um, it's just time to turn to and go home, come back home, come back to the Most High, come back to His laws, statutes, and His commandments, all right, and walk in the way to be salt and light to the world, just like Yeshua the Messiah, Yeshua the Mashiach, and to show the world by the love that we have for one another and the spreading of um, the good news of His word and His Messiahship. This is how we do true tikkun. This is how we repair. And this is how we set things straight. Again, I mentioned that I'm in Israel every year. And the people are, by and large, are really, really good people. I found, sadly, that the best experiences happen with the secular, non-religious people. They'll have a beer with you. They'll tell you about their hopes and their dreams. Mm, but on the other side, my worst experience has been with the religious, with the Orthodox. Quick story. Uh, Me and a couple of friends of mine, I have two friends, African American, who made Aliyah and moved to the modern state of Israel. We went to a place called Old Gesher, Old Bridge, and it was Israel's first Leva Chashmal power plant. Okay, but it's on the Syrian side. I think Israel had to give it back, or they gave it back to Syria. Any rate, we're walking through, and there's a big class of Orthodox kids walking with two adult overseers. And the kids are yelling, a couple of the kids, Tistaklu ala kofim, gan gan hachayot. And the two sisters, you can only lie to a black woman for so long. They keep asking me, oh, what are they saying? What are they saying? And I lied and lied. Oh, nothing, da 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 da. Finally, one of them said, okay, tell me what's going on because my face must have given it away. Well, I told her, well, they're saying Tistaklu ala kofim. Look at the monkeys. Gan hachayot, gan hachayot. The zoo is here. The zoo is here. Basically, is what they were saying. The adult overseers laughed along with the kids. And needless to say, when our paths crossed and we ended up underneath the old Roman bridge, it's an old ancient Roman bridge, I had words with the overseers, and it was really up close and personal. And it was with a handful of his black coat. That's sad, okay, but that does not embody all Jewish people. It simply does not. It simply does not. So we have to find a way um, to dialogue. and a way in order to work things out through communication. Okay, that's just my take. Again, I'm just an electrician. I work every day and get blisters in order to make my money. I don't rob or take anything from anyone. I work hard for it, and I feel good at the end of the week when I can pay my bills. But I know what my job is and what your job is for a lot of you on the other side of this screen. Melach va'or. Melach va'or. Salt and light. Salt and light. That's our job. And the trees that we are should yield good fruit. It should yield good fruit. She'edah kol ha'olam, that the world may know. Okay, everybody, until the next time, take care of yourselves. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. You know, you're angry with me, you're okay with me, you agree, you disagree, whatever. Let me know. If you're new to this channel, and anything that you heard today is fruitful to you and good for you, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Until next time.